Morning, folks. Just going to start onto our new topic here today. All right. You all should have done the quiz for soils yesterday. I think you've got a couple of days to get it done, but please make sure you get that done. Okay. You can head up with your information here. Introduction to settlement. This will probably be our last topic of the year. It's quite a long one, and we're going to look at the types of settlement and some of their functions. We may get onto functions today. We'll see. Okay. Right, first things first, two very important words that you have to just know, all right, about settlement is the site and the situation. So see if you can unscramble those there, test yourself a little bit. And what we have then is site, the actual location of a town or a city on the earth, composed of the physical features of the landscape specific to that location. So the site is where a place actually is, all right, and it's made up of or composed by the physical features. You can put the word natural beside or under physical. Okay, so the physical features of the landscape specific to that location. So again, is it by the coast? Is it built on a river? Is it on mountains? Is it on lowland, flatland? Is it in a very hot region? Okay, what is the actual specific location of it? Okay, so for example, Nassau's location would be on an island, okay, surrounded by the sea. Very simple. Okay, and again, you could site will often have like a longitude and latitude coordination for where it is on the planet. The situation of a settlement then is the location of a place relative to its surroundings and the influence it has on its surroundings. So this is a little bit more different. The site is all about the natural features, whilst the situation is a little bit more about the human aspects. So relative to its surroundings, is Nassau the dominant settlement in the Bahamas? Yes. Okay, so it would have a lot of influence in the Bahamas because it's got the most jobs. It's where the government sits. It's got the biggest airport and so on. But if you look at the situation of Nassau in the Caribbean, okay, is it a dominant force there? Is it the largest settlement or most powerful or biggest influence in the Caribbean? All right, and so on. So different settlements are based around where they're found and their role or their influence in their surroundings. So make a note of those, please. Now, do not write this down. Okay, we're just going to look at a quick example about London. Okay, so don't write this down. And please ignore the bits in green. It was from a different task. So I want you thinking, while we go through this, I want you to think about the site and the situation. Okay, so found the southeast of the country. So the site is in the southeast. Okay, London is found on very flat, open land. So again, part of the site. It's also where the River Thames, it's also found along the River Thames, okay? So it's found on a river in flatland in the southeast. So let's look at the site, okay? A river, good for transport, fresh water, things like that, okay? Flatland, easy to build on, okay? And you can see back in the day when you were talking about defending a settlement, flatland allowed you to see all sorts of places. Back to the river. Back in the day as well, it's good for trading when a lot of trade was done down rivers. Okay, the southeast of England is got a nicer, more accommodating climate than the north of England. So all of these are physical factors about the site of London. It's now the UK's capital and is an essential part of the UK economy, with over 20% of the UK's income or money generated in the city. So now we're talking a bit about its situation. All right, so it's the capital city. It's the most powerful city in the UK. It's vital for the economy. It produces over 20% of the UK's wealth just from that one city. Okay, so its influence is massive. If you take London out of the UK, out of England, the country is going to struggle. It's also a hub for the transport system. Okay, it has a water port. Well, it had a water port. It's got 2 major airports that fly all over the world and 3 smaller airports. So this one city, London, actually has 5 airports. Okay, and they're just talking now about making this one even bigger again. It's one of the biggest in the world already, or busiest. There's also rail access to the whole country and to mainland Europe. They dug a tunnel under the sea, okay, under the sea to Europe, and they built a train under there just so people could get to and from London. So the influence of London is not just that it's so important to the UK, it's also got a European focus. So it's influencing on a continental size. It's got some of the busiest airports in the world, so now we're talking about a global size. Okay, it's also a major influence. Companies from all over the world are attracted to the region, okay, because of they want to be in London. they've got the best workers, they've got highly educated workers, all right? So companies from all over the world will move to London. We'll skip on this. Okay, London's global importance is also obvious. It is a world city with people from over 100 countries calling it home. So again, people from all over the world, not just companies, but people from all over the world move there because there's so many job opportunities, there's excellent education, facilities and things like that. Okay, along with New York, it's one of the most important financial centers in the world. A lot of banking and stuff goes on there. So again, you can see the site is pretty simple, but the influence goes from the influence within its own country, within its own region, and then to a global scale. And London, it doesn't get much bigger than London. London has a huge influence. Okay, the fact that we're even talking about it in lessons shows how important it is on a global scale. Okay, that's the situation. So how do settlements get established? Like, how do they actually become a thing? So a settlement is essentially just a gathering of buildings, okay, or a group of people who live in one place. All right, so there's lots of different things. See if you can think about why maybe settlements began where they did. Now, I'm not talking about last year or last week. I'm talking about years and years ago. Okay, there's lots of different reasons. So defense was the first one, okay, back when people were out, well, there's a lot more little fights and wars going on, disputes. Bridging points, okay, another important way was getting across tricky areas like swamps and marshlands and rivers. A wet point site, okay, where people obviously needed to be near water, okay. Building materials, the closer you are to building materials, the better, because they're difficult and heavy to move. Food supplies, you obviously want to be near somewhere with foods. Settlements didn't start in places where there was a lack of building materials or a lack of food. Very rarely they would start there, or certainly very rarely they would last there a long time. There's also the opposite. Some people wanted a dry point. You don't want to live in a swamp or a marshland. It's impossible to build on. So you have to find a balance between these two. Nodal points, we'll look at what that means in a little couple of minutes. And shelter. Okay, so what you can do is, under where you've done your site and situation keywords, you can put this as a subtitle and just list these, 3, 6, 8 different factors. You can just list those down. Okay, we're going to look at those in New Wider World in just a moment. So yeah, page 34 will be on a New Wider World. All right, so let's go there right now. Okay, so page 34 of New Wider World, chapter 3, settlement and urban growth. We'll look at what that word urban means shortly. All right, so a settlement is a place where people live, first of all, very simple. All right, it can be permanent or temporary, but more often than not, they're becoming permanent. Now, each settlement is unique, okay, but it's likely to share some similar characteristics with others. So the criteria we're going to look at over this lesson and the next one or two is the location, site and situation, okay, shape and pattern, okay, there's only 3 real patterns, and then the function. Function is very important. What is the actual use? What is the major function of different settlements? All right, and its hierarchy. So hierarchy refers to like a structure of power. So you have the most important cities or settlements at the top, all the way down to the smallest and most insignificant. All right, so let's continue on. Here, just going to review site and situation again. So site describes the point at which the town is located. Okay, factors such as relief, which is the shape of the steepness of the ground, or is it mountainous or flat. Soil, water supply, natural resources were important in choosing the initial site of a settlement. So all these things were important. Next of all, we have situation. Describes where the settlement is located in relation to the surrounding features. All right, so such as settlement, other settlements, communications, things like that. It's the situation of a settlement that determines whether or not it will continue to grow and become a large town or city, or whether it remains very small. So again, it's about that influence. Not all towns grow into major cities, okay? So it's about that situation. I've got a little example here about Paris. I'm going to run through very quickly. We've already done London, so this isn't as important, but Paris is a good example, okay? The site of Paris, it's actually an island on the River Seine, okay, which could be defended and which could be made bridging very easy. There's a picture up here, all right, so you can see the heart of Paris actually started on this tiny island, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different bridges coming off that, okay? So it made it very easy to get in and out, and also very easy to defend, very hard for other people to take over. The growth of Paris into one of Europe's largest cities was due to the situation. Okay, it was the centre of a major farming area. Paris is right in the middle of France with a huge surrounding flat area, so they could grow lots of food to support a big population. Okay, and then there were also several river routes. So this river on both sides connected it to lots of other places. Now I've added trade and food production. So they were two factors that helped of how the site of where Paris was helped it to develop a big situation, a big influence around its surroundings, and thus it has grown into a major capital city. Okay,